Welcome to the Jolly Roger. My name's Chef Brian, and today we are going to be making a perfect steak every time using what's called a sous vide. I'll put how you spell that up there. It's French. It means under vacuum. But we have some nice, these are two right here, are Wagyu, and these two right here are USDA prime. You can tell because of the interior muscular fat. That's always a good sign of a tender steak. Is the more fat is usually going to be the better in most cases. So I'm gonna get these vacuum sealed up. I did dry brine these for 24 hours. And dry brining, if you haven't seen that, I'll put the video to that up there. But all you do is you put salt all over your steak and you put it in the refrigerator uncovered, just like this on a rack. The salt will actually melt on the surface and then get sucked into the steak using osmosis. But I'm gonna get these vacuum sealed and then we're gonna get to cooking them. Got our steak vacuum sealed. So what we're gonna do is just drop it in the water. Now the sous vide, the thing about sous vide is it's going to keep a very precise temperature for the entire cook. And these steaks, they're about 1.25 inches thick, and I'm anticipating them to be about 1.5 hours, 2 hours. And yeah, so they're gonna sit there, and then I'll show you another way if you don't have a vacuum sealer, how you can do this with the Ziploc bag here in a second. And then if you want a sous vide, they make, I had one I bought on Amazon for about $100. This one is like one of the top of the line, it's pretty pricey, but $100 can get you a really good one on Amazon. So, all right, let me get a Ziploc bag. So I got a Ziploc bag. There's two ways to do this. You can do it with a straw where you close half the bag off. And I wouldn't do this with raw chicken because this cooks vegetables, eggs, meat, anything you want to cook, it can cook. But you can close half the bag, suck the air out that way, or we can do what's called the water displacement, where we're gonna dip this bag into water and that's gonna force all the air inside the bag out. So just to show you, we're gonna push this down and then we'll close. If I can get the little zipper thing to work. There we go. And it doesn't get all the air out, but it gets the majority of it out, and that's what we're looking for. But that's just a way in case you don't have a food saver or a freezer bag. And yeah, so we're gonna wait on these steaks, and I'm gonna forewarn you right now, when they come out, they're not gonna look good. They're gonna look like boiled meat, but that's okay, because then we're gonna do the reverse sear, and then that's where we're gonna get our color. So, see you in about 1.5 hours. It's been about 1 hour for our steaks, and we have some diced up red potatoes, and we're gonna roast these off as a side for our starch. We're also gonna make a sweet potato puree. And what I'm seasoning these with is just a little bit of Cavender seasoning and a little bit of Italian herb and salt and pepper. And I'll give everything a mix so the seasoning sticks to the oil. And I think we're good there. Italian herb. Helps if a tap. Definitely want seasoning on them. Salt. And this is one of the best things about a sous vide is your steak is never going to be overcooked. Whatever you set it to, I set mine to 128 because I like medium rare, and we are going to, it can be in there forever. It'll never get above 128. However, if it is in there for longer than 4 hours, then the meat starts to deteriorate and it becomes kind of mushy, kind of like pot roast. So, you know, as long as it's not in there for over 4 hours, you're good to go. And you really don't have to do anything. I mean, I'm just standing here. All right, let's give it a mix. And then I'm gonna throw this into an oven, and my oven's set at 350 degrees. And then we can start on our sweet potato puree here in a second. Going in the oven. I have my sweet potatoes, they're already diced up. I got them in water. We're gonna turn this up. We're gonna boil them until they're fork tender. And then once they're fork tender, we're gonna strain the water, and then we're going to blend these up. And then I'm gonna add in some maple syrup, some cinnamon, and a touch of nutmeg with a little bit of salt. And we're gonna add some heavy cream to smooth it out. And basically we're on a waiting game right now. We're gonna wait for this to come up to a boil, and then we can start on our broccolini, and then we gotta sear our steaks, and then dinner's almost done. Our sweet potatoes are done. All I did was drain them and then put them back in the same pot. What we're gonna do is put them in a blender. add a little bit of liquid to get them going. And then we're gonna blend that up. And then we're gonna season. All right, we're gonna start off with a little bit of cream. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna go ahead and add the seasonings together right now while the lid's off. But this type of blender, I have a hole in the top of the lid, so if I need to add more, I can add more. A little bit of maple syrup. We're gonna go for kind of a sweetness flavor. Looks good. Now nutmeg, a little goes a long way. So we're just gonna do like an eighth of a teaspoon. Cinnamon. And then I need salt and pepper. Salt. And black pepper. All right, we're gonna put our lid on and I'm gonna pulse it just so I get the texture I'm looking for. All right, we're gonna need more cream. This is kind of like I'm looking for a particular consistency is what I'm looking for. And it's just kind of a trial and error type deal. And if you add too much liquid, you kind of screwed up and you'd have to make more sweet potatoes. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, we're gonna taste for seasoning. And if I need to add more salt. Oh, that's good. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt. It's got a little bit of hint of sweet from the maple syrup, but it tastes like sweet potato casserole. It's right out of Thanksgiving, but in, you know, a puree form. One last blend, and then we can transfer to a pot puree. And then we're gonna put this on the stove top just to keep it warm until we're done with our steak and broccolini. It has been over an hour and a half, but that's okay. We got everything going around. You know, we got our puree, we got our potatoes done. So we're just gonna pull these out, and I'm gonna tell you right now, they're not gonna look good, but once we sear them, they're gonna look great. Water's a little warm. I'm gonna say it's around 128 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a joke. It is exactly 128 degrees. All right, I'm gonna cut these open, lay it out on some paper towels. We wanna get all the moisture off the steak as possible because then we wouldn't get a good sear. So I'm gonna get that done. Got my steaks, they're dried off. We're gonna go ahead and preheat our pan. We want this really hot. I got 3 tablespoons of butter, and then I have some thyme and rosemary, and I have some garlic cloves that I just crushed with a knife. And we're gonna get a little oil in here. The oil helps prevent the butter from burning. Just a little. And when that melts, we can start searing. And these steaks are super tender. Oh, another thing about the sous vide. These were a huge hit for a lot of restaurants back about 15 years ago. And like major restaurants in New York City, they all used them because it cooks your steak perfectly every time. But we're gonna sear these. I'm gonna show you one, you don't have to watch all 4. And then we'll get into our broccolini. My pan is preheated, so I'm gonna take my steak, we're gonna set it in, just like that. And we're gonna let this go for about a minute, 2.5 minutes. Dang, that hurt. All right, we're gonna flip. And to be honest, that was about a minute. But this burner top and this cast iron is super hot. As you can see, my butter and oil is smoking. So we'll give this about 1 minute. And we can go ahead and throw in our herbs. Be careful doing this because this is gonna pop because it has water in it. Just like that. And just like that, we're gonna toss in our garlic. We're gonna infuse this oil and butter with our steak. Yeah, she pops quite a bit. All right, we're looking good. We're gonna do the sides. Oh, this is smelling good. It looks amazing. All right, there we are. I'm gonna put this on a rack. We're gonna sear off another one. Getting into our broccolini, I got my pan preheated, so we're gonna add a little bit of oil. And all we're gonna season these is just with salt and pepper. And then we're gonna wait for that to get the oil up to temp. There we are. And these cook so fast since they're so thin. I might have to do 2 batches. This is the biggest sauté pan I had. All right, we're gonna do 2 batches. A little bit more oil, because I didn't have a lot. Thank you. Put that right there. Boom. Yeah. Salt. And I'm using kosher, as always. So it looks like a lot of salt, but it's not table salt. It has a different flavor. And then we also, once we got done searing our steaks, we added some compound butter that we made in a previous video. And if you haven't seen that, I'll put that up there. It's a good compound butter. Oh, it's perfect with steak. It's perfect with chicken. Bump the heat up. Pretty much anything you put that butter on, it's gonna be good. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of water. It's gonna help steam and cook these a little bit faster. But as soon as the stalks become floppy, that's what we're looking for. We don't need stiffness. Right when it looks like that, those are good. And your bigger ones with the bigger stalk on them, we're just gonna cut that part off because it's gonna get overcooked if we cook it till the big part of the stalk gets done. So we set that off. We're gonna throw in our second batch. All right, now we got a plate. I figured I'd show you plating. So what I start with, I'm gonna start with the puree, and I'm just gonna kind of do like a little pool of puree, kind of round it out. We don't need a lot because we have a lot of flavor in there. That looks good. And then I'm gonna take my steak, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the steak, and we're gonna do this one, the little guy. I like to cut mine at a 45-degree angle, and then that allows to see the inside of the steak. Slide it down the knife. Oh, it's looking good. And that end piece. So we're gonna go right across the middle with that. Just like that. And then I'm gonna get a spoon, get some of these potatoes. We're gonna go on one side with the potatoes, and then I'm gonna cross over with the broccolini. And that's what I had in mind. Just like that. And yeah, I play with my hands. It makes it a lot easier to place things, especially for a pitcher. And our broccolini. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more of our compound butter and put that on top, and then I'm gonna use a blowtorch to cut it, or to heat it up, to make it look a little nice. We have our broccolini facing all one direction. And then we use paper towels to clean off the edges of the plate. And snack on a little bit. Wipe the plate. Make sure we don't have any fingerprints, and everything looks good. Lynn's getting my butter for me, and I'm gonna grab a blowtorch. Take a blowtorch, just kind of give it a little one of them, and we take a picture. There you have it. Sous vide steak with a sweet potato puree, some broccolini, and some potatoes. Have at it. That was my piece. Oh, it's super tender.
Get over here.
Little potato. It's kind of a potato on potato, but it's gonna taste a little different.
A little bit better.
Mmm. That is phenomenally good. And if you don't have a sous vide, you don't have to go out and buy one. Just make it on a grill or grill pan. But this whole combination, perfect.
Everything.
I'm so happy about it.
Yep.
I love that puree. How sweet it is compared to everything else. And
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can use it like as a dipping sauce with the steak. And the broccolini.
Well, thank y'all for
potatoes.
being here. And like, comment, share, subscribe, and you know, what other YouTube people ask you to do. I mean, we're trying here. And yeah, see you Tuesday. Peace.